tonight's topic. We have said is activism, politics, and everything in between. Where do young women, or actually the youth in generally, but since tonight we are speaking about women, we'll be focusing on women. So we are asking, where do young women fit in Uganda's future? A bit of context of our discussion tonight. So we've been seeing more and more young people, women in particular in East Africa, stepping into the public life, some through activism, some through politics, and many doing the quiet work in between, even on grassroots levels, maybe doing works of organizing, teaching, mentoring, creating spaces, and telling stories. But tonight, I think last week, our shift was more of Tanzania and Kenya, but tonight we're shifting our focus on Uganda. And we also want to listen to two brave young women who are living that reality and who are using their journeys to think about where young women really fit in Uganda's future. But before we begin, allow me briefly to point out a few things. For those who've joined so far, please share this space, share the link, so that more people can join in and we can have this conversation in a broader context. So we'll start with a guided conversation, and then later on we'll be able to open the floor to feedback and questions and comments from our regional audience, whether you're in Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. Feel free. This conversation is about all of us. Remember let's keep it respectful. If you have any disagreeing opinions, yes, feel free to share, but no insults or personal attacks. Also, as I've said, please feel free to ask for the mic if you want to contribute as we go on with the conversation. Okay, so for the sake of since tonight we are focusing on our Ugandan brothers and sisters, tonight we'll be maintaining English as our language for the sake of the understanding of our brothers and sisters from that region. So still, if you feel you want to speak in Kiswahili or you want to raise your points in Kiswahili, feel free. We'll be able to understand and explain to those of us who may not be able to be able to interpret. So I'll briefly just mention about our speakers tonight, but they'll be able to introduce themselves better in a broader context. So as I had mentioned, we already have Nora here. Her second name it's a bit of a tongue twister for me, but she'll be able to to give me the correct pronunciation. So Nora Kobusinje, she's a journalist, a social justice activist who has been very visible in recent struggles in Uganda. I think for those of us who remember the young women who went to protest, let me say nude, in Uganda's parliament, and it really went viral. She's been very vocal, especially issues to do with corruption and accountability. Nora is really known for her boldness, but also for the way she just talks about, the human side of resistance. And we are glad we'll be able to hear more about that on her end. Then later on, we'll be joined by Nantongo Bashira. She's a young leader and an advocate who cares deeply about, girl child education, women empowerment, youth empowerment, and women's leadership. I'm seeing actually Nantongo has already joined. Karibu sana Nantongo. As I've mentioned, she'll be taking us through. Nantongo, I have mentioned, I'll be briefly introducing you, but you'll give us a broader context about who you are and what you do. So thank you so much, ladies, for joining the conversation tonight. We are really, really eager to hear from both of you about your journeys, your struggles, and basically generally in Uganda, how things are. So let's start by both of you briefly telling us about your individual journeys. I think we'll start with you, Nora. When people see you online, or in the news, or the way we saw you, going to stand boldly, nude, protesting in front of Parliament. It really shook the airwaves, of course. People see this very young, outspoken woman, but of course, your story had to start from somewhere. Could you just take us back a bit? How did you find yourself in this world of activism, especially in your country? I think most of us know um, how difficult the situation is there, if I may use that word. But how did you find yourself in this world of activism and public life? What was that moment when you said, you can't stay quiet anymore, you have to stand up?
Oh, thank you so much, Joy. So, good evening, everyone. I am Nora Kobsinje. Am I audible? I
Yes,
am
you're very
audible.
audible. You're very audible. Yes, go ahead.
I am Nora Kobsinje, social justice activist from Uganda. I work with Freedom Hive Uganda and the Sisterhood Shine International. My journey, I have a lot to say about this, but my journey started when I was still young, when I was still in my father's house. I am the last born of 7 boys. So at home, when you are the last born, there is that marginalization that comes with being a last born. And then on top of that, I was the only girl in the house. And I would see that there was inequality. I used to like to fight to be seen, to fight to be heard, to fight to be respected, to fight to be included in most of the family activities. So I've been fighting, I've been challenging society norms, beliefs, and all that. But then when I was so young, I didn't even believe I would go far with this. But I realized when I started when I was at campus, I started also like mobilizing young people, talking about uh, talking about different issues. But let me take you back. When I was at high school, there was a strike. When you're still in high school, you call it a strike, but it was a peaceful demonstration. I was the head girl and the head girl of the school. And then um, they used not to give us like escorts and sugar, and yet we used to pay for these things. So I told my friend, my childhood friend, she was called Shiba. I asked her, what can we do about this? And she was like, what do you want to do about this? It's like we have to be bringing sugar, but then we used to pay for sugar. And I'm like, our parents are paying for sugar, but still we have to bring sugar. Like the administration had to give us sugar at school. So I went to the offices and asked them, why is it that it is a requirement we pay for this sugar, but still we have to come with sugar? Why is it that sugar is not provided so that even those that cannot afford to come with sugar can be like given sugar? And they're like, oh, you're trying to be stubborn. What, this and that. So I started organizing, I started mobilizing right from senior 3. I started mobilizing for a protest. I've been telling my friends about these things. I've been telling Claire that I did not start mobilizing for peaceful protests right now. I started long way in high school. So um, I organized for a peaceful protest in senior 3, and it was so successful to the extent that I was like thrown out of the school. But then they had to protest again to bring me back. The students had to protest again to bring me back to the school. And the school realized, yeah, this guy is not going to be easy. So that's how I started. So how I came into how I came on the front line, it was last year. Last year, I was online. I finished school, But I had I tried to find a job, but I couldn't find a job in my area of expertise. So I started looking for jobs here and there, and I couldn't find. So my dad was like, you can maybe go to a vocational institute and get some skills on how to maybe to braid hair or to do like those other odd jobs. And I'm like, okay, let me go. I went and I learned how to do nails, women's nails, pedicure and manicure. So after learning, he gave me some money to start up a business. I started my business. Even before opening that door of my shop, URA was already at my door asking for taxes. And that's the very month they introduced the IFLIS taxes. I remember very well. We were still fixing things in my shop, like we were still fixing those things they put in a saloon. And some like three guys knocked at the door because it was a little bit shut. Like, you guys have not even opened. If you don't pay for a license, what? And I'm like, I thought I am, maybe there is a way we can do it. Like, I operate for some month and then I be able to pay for a license. And they were like, you cannot open the door if you don't have a license. You'll have to first have a license, then you open your door. I went and I had to first put everything aside, and I went out there and I started working on the license. After paying for the license, I came back after like 3 days. I opened the shop, and the KCCA guys were already at my door looking for some other things, like you have to pay for this particular tax. And I'm like, guys, you made me close for 3 days to go and look for a license. And you are back today that you want this and that. What am I going to do? Like, you must have this and that. And they told me like a hundred things that I was supposed to have for me to open. But remember, I was just a youth trying to open up a business. So I closed for a full week to go and find the things that KCCA wanted. I came back and opened. The first day I opened, in the evening, the people that the tax the garbage collectors were already on my shop asking for some money. I paid. The next day, the electricity guys were also asking for money. I paid. Oh my God. And I realized that the system was just designed to make Ugandans poor, to keep us poor and poor, to keep us as beggars. Like, you know how poor people are easy to control. So I was so frustrated. I went online and I remember I wrote something about the huge taxes that we pay. You know, when you write something or on X, there is a way they bring for you. You start seeing content in that line. So when I wrote about huge taxes, I started seeing posts from different activists who were talking about corruption. And when I started reading their content about corruption, I saw that the Speaker of the Parliament of Uganda was misusing public funds. She was spending our taxes the way she wanted. She was buying designer dresses of 23 million Ugandan shillings. She was traveling, gifting her boyfriend cars, expensive cars, doing this and that. And I'm like, wait, I am suffocating with these huge taxes, paying this and this every day, as small as my business. Like, my business was very small that time, but I was paying very huge taxes and taxes. And in the end, I had like to pay for the toilet, to pay for food, to pay for my transport, and to pay for my workers' transport, food, and toilet. And you know, so I'm like, I became angry. I became so angry, and I started reposting these posts, and I also started talking about my experiences with KCCA, how they just come around and lock your door. They look like URA. They just come around and lock your door. They want taxes, this and that, but in the end, there is someone out there in the parliament who is just spending our taxes the way they want. And the fact that when people started talking about her corruption scandals, she came out and, like, the president came out and shielded her. The president made some reckless statements saying that if we arrest corrupt members of parliament or corrupt leaders, whom are we going to work with? The good thing, they are stealing and spending in the same country. So I felt more angry every day. I was every day I could read these posts and the scandals about corruption in our parliament. I was just feeling sorry for myself and for every other youth out there. And then I waited to see what the youth were planning to do. So there is a guy called Suna James. He started pushing for the what? For the protest, like March to Parliament. I started seeing spaces like he was trying to mobilize Ugandans, young Ugandans, to do what the young Kenyans were doing in their country. And I'm like, oh my God, this can be so good. But at that point, I was scared. I was like, oh, can I join? Can I also add my voice or what? But then I told myself, these are the same things I'm going through. I am paying taxes as young as I am, and there is someone out there, not only one person, but many of them in the parliament who are misusing our funds. That time, I even heard of someone who pocketed 64 billion Ugandan shillings, and he was not arrested. So I told myself, we have to do something about this as young Ugandans. So I also started adding a voice to the rest of the Ugandans who were like speaking out against corruption and calling for the arrest of all corrupt leaders in the country. So I joined. I joined these spaces of Suna James. I started speaking out, and I started also calling out first time protesters to come and join us on the date that we got. It was on 23rd July last year. So I joined the spaces. I used to be on these spaces every single day, every single day. But as whenever I would, after, like, I don't know, but let me tell you, activism is like a ghost. You just become possessed. You can't stop yourself. You continue even when you tell yourself that I am stopping. You just find yourself speaking out, because it's like you cannot just sit down when you see a lot of injustices happening in your country. So every time I would speak out on those on the Twitter spaces, sometimes I would find myself like I would find myself scared, trying to tell myself, oh, maybe let me stay away from these spaces. Maybe I might get killed, or maybe I might get kidnapped and all that. But then I continued doing this, like, I continued going to these Twitter spaces. I continued speaking out. I never stopped until the day of the protest. On that day, I had already bought my things that I was supposed to wear on the day of the protest. And when the day reached, very early in the morning, I asked myself, but am I going to do this? There was a lot of propaganda and narratives around protesting in Uganda. People used to think it's not possible. People used to think when you go out there and protest in Uganda, you get killed, you get abducted, you get this and this. But then that morning, I told myself, if I go there, I'm going to get killed. But if I don't go there, people are going to say these youths of Uganda cannot do anything. They just say these things and they don't even come out to do these things. And then I told myself there has to be some people to break the chain, to show others that it is possible to protest in Uganda. And like, so I woke up very early in the morning. I took a shower. I got myself ready and I went. But before going, my friend called me and told me there is the military is everywhere. Like military officers are everywhere. You have like to find a way of not wearing a water t-shirt that we had made. So I had to leave the t-shirt home. Because for me, I told myself, whether we die or we do what, we must show up. We must show other people in Uganda that it is possible. If our mothers and fathers feared to go to the streets, for us we should. We shouldn't fear. We should show them that it is possible, and this is a generation of informed people that you cannot just silence anyhow. So I went. When I reached the point where I told the first time protesters to find me, I first stayed there because I was seeing like there was like the streets were full of police officers. Like the military was everywhere. Army vehicles. It was like Uganda was preparing for war. But it was just young Ugandans who were saying that enough is enough. Work on this and this because we put out our demands. But instead of working on these demands, they decided to deploy police officers were everywhere. So when I reached that corner where I told my friends to find me, I stayed there. I told myself I might get arrested even before I find my other colleagues. So I stayed there for some time, like for 30 minutes. I was seeing people, but since I was mobilizing from online, I didn't know the faces of the people that I was talking to, and they also didn't know my face. So I was there seeing people standing, and I was also standing. And I told myself, why can't I like send something in the group? So we had a Twitter group, X group. So I told them I am standing here. My phone was already ringing because so many people were calling me, and I couldn't pick up because I didn't know. I didn't know. Like, what if I talk? I was like, what if I talk to a police officer and I tell them where I am? So I was scared to receive my calls, and I was even scared to text my friends. But then I told myself, if we don't do this today, we shall never do it. So I decided to send that text in the group that I am standing here. Please come. So I saw people coming. I saw my friends who were already waiting. They came. I was very happy. So we had to get a taxi and go and meet our other colleagues. Even though on the way we lost our other colleagues because we couldn't move at once. So we reached how is it called? Where did we meet our other colleagues? Garden City. We reached Garden City. Oh my God, that was like a playground. Like we played hide and seek with police officers because they wanted to arrest us. Guys, let me first sort out this.
No problem, Nora. I'm really dumbfounded hearing how this started very early for you at a very young age, and the weight that you've carried along the way. It really brings it home that this is not just activism for you as a title. The way you've said it, it's like a spirit that has taken over you. But let me bring in Nantongo here as well, because I'm so sure there are parts of Nora's story that she also relates to in her own journey.
Okay.
Um, Nantongo, sorry, Nora. I just want to jump into Nantongo briefly before we pick up from you from what exactly happened during that time. Nantongo, your path has been a bit different. It's been a bit more through leadership, education, community spaces. For you, how has your journey been like? Have you received the same hostility as Nora has taken us through? What pulled you into this space? Was there a turning point for you? Something that made you feel, let me step up for the girls, for my community. Tell us about it. Nantongo, if you can hear me, sorry, I didn't do a mic test with you before, but I don't know if you can hear me. Probably just turn on your mic. Okay. As I
On
sort,
board.
I think she's still sorting out. Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Hopefully, I'm loud enough and clear.
Yes, yes, you're loud and clear. Go ahead. Yo, karibu sana.
So, your introduction, your introduction wasn't so bad from
Yes, but
that
it
I
was
had
just
joined. So,
very sketchy. Yeah.
good enough. So, to our dear listeners, my name is Bashira. My name is Bashira Ndongo. Yes, so my name is Bashira Nantongo. I am a former parliamentary aspirant for the constituent seat of Busiro North. And my journey has been quite interesting. I would actually try to summarize it from a high school perspective, where I was a shy girl who couldn't even enter a classroom. But all of a sudden, I realized no one was going to build my competence. No one was there to save me. No one was going to build me. And I knew deep down that if I don't stand tall and bold, no one will actually fight for me. So um, I started my political journey with student leadership. That was around 2013 and 2015 when I became the head girl. And again, I joined politics, by the way, before I was even 17. I was actually 18. I was 17 years, and I remember going to Katwe politician to when I reached Katwe police.
Nantongo, I think we seem to have lost you. I don't know if it's just on my end, but we seem to have lost you. We're not getting you very clearly. I hope we are not having the same challenges in Uganda with the internet connection as we've been seeing or experiencing in Tanzania. Probably, yeah, you could just drop and then join back the conversation. Let me take it back to Nora. Let's get in now into your activism journey. So tonight, as we had stated, our topic: activism, politics, and everything in between. Nora, when you hear those two words, activism and politics, what do they mean from your experience? What does it mean to you? Do you see them as different or just different tools to try and change the same problems? And I'm bringing in the aspect of activism and politics because I really also would like to hear from Nantongo, as she has mentioned, she's been in the actively vying in the political scene as well. So what does this ring in your mind when you hear that?
Thank you so much. To me, activism and politics is the same. The difference is the similarity. Yeah, the difference is the similarity. And when I see people who say, sometimes people come out and say, oh, I'm not into politics. I don't want anything to do with politics. But people forget one thing, that everything in this world is political. Everything is political. Even your body is political. And to me, activism means taking action to create social change. It can be political, environmental, or whatever. Organizing, educating, mobilizing, doing something in the community, doing something that can change communities, that can impact and change people's lives. And when it comes to politics, politics is like how communities, institutions, and villages, continents are governed, and how decisions are made. So these two things work together or work together. And there is no way you can say that you are an activist who doesn't love politics or you're not into politics. I've seen people say, like, make that statement. Me, I'm not into politics. But one thing people forget, that these two things work together. As an activist, when I come out and I speak up against injustices, and I say, you know what, stop abducting opposition supporters and opposition leaders. Huh? People come out and so many times when we run such campaigns, so many people do not even, you find that the way these things work together, some people even find it hard to differentiate. Like when I talk about abductions, people are like, that girl is into politics. Yes, I'm into politics, but not elective positions. Like I am one activist trying to educate Ugandans, educate them about their constitutional rights and how to exercise them, educating them about their fundamental freedoms and how to protect them. So you find that they work together, they are together. And my kind of activism creates pressure and awareness about so many issues that are pressing Ugandans in the country. And my political engagement turns that pressure that I create around these issues into real change. If I come out and I run a campaign about rape, you find that I create real change. Because people come out and, people come out and join me. When I come out and I talk about corruption and I hold my leaders accountable, you find that it creates awareness about the existence of these issues. It creates awareness about the existence of these problems in our countries, and the pressure that we put out as activists turns into real change. So that's how I can answer that question.
Thank you for that, Nora. Bashira, before you cut off, you were just taking us through your journey, how you started or got into leadership when you were still young, and you brought in your political aspect. As you still take us through that, I also want you to tell us from your side, you've navigated more formal spaces, of course, in leadership institutions, right? So how do you see the relationship between activism and politics? I hope you can hear me well, Nantongo.
Yes, I do. Am I heard?
Yes, yes.
So I don't know where I lost I lost you from, but what I can say is, if you are into politics, there is no way you're going to avoid activism, because this is it's the bitter reality where we say that it is survival for the fittest. The more audible, the more energetic, the more strategic, the more visible and skilled are the ones that are always going to make it happen. So most of the times you have to make sure. Let me take this in a minute.
Okay, sure. Go ahead. I'll mute you so that we can go to our next segment, probably, so that we don't spend a lot of time in this part. Both of you are actually quite young to be, yes, in these spaces. Being a young woman in these spaces, especially in this day and age, uh, it's one thing to be active or political in East Africa, yeah. Now let's say Uganda, and it's another thing to do that as a young woman. Nora, from your personal journey, what has it really felt like to show up as a young woman in these spaces? What kind of reactions or pushback have you faced, from family, the community, the society, online spaces, as you had mentioned, I think you had mentioned before, or even these institutions? Nantongo, we'll get back to you shortly after we hear from Nora.
These spaces are sometimes they are toxic, sometimes there is propaganda, but what I want to focus on is the propaganda. Showing up as a young woman in these spaces, there's a lot of propaganda. The propaganda that women are not supposed to do this. Back in the days, women used not to lead campaigns, used not to be on the front line. They used to lag behind men. But nowadays, we've seen so many women championing change in their countries. We've seen those of Hanifa Fasari in Kenya. We've seen those of Faith Gunda in Botswana. But then you find that there is a lot of propaganda. The more women rise on the front line, the more such narratives come up. I've been told things like, who will marry you? Maybe they think men cannot marry women like us, women who speak out boldly, women who say, no, we are not sitting and we shall not sit down and watch our country go down the road. So you find that people are always coming up with so many narratives about protesters. Let me put it in God's like protesters. That if you're a protester, you are violent, you are aggressive. They don't know that there are so many tactics that people can use to challenge injustices. And let me tell you guys, working in a repressive environment like Uganda, there's no way I am going to be humble if I'm talking about rape or corruption or abductions. There is no way I'm going to come out here and I say, oh my God, you guys stop abducting our people. No, of course I am going to speak out. I'm going to use a loud voice. I am going to take action. I am going to mobilize. I'm going to educate. You understand that? So people think women like me are aggressive, are violent, are this and that. They misunderstand our radicalism. They don't know that there is good radicalism. Huh? They call us names. Sometimes they even don't allow us in their circles. They feel like, oh my God, those women are Annie Luli. Those young women are Annie Luli. Those young women do not respect themselves. We do respect ourselves. But the same way you look at the same way you look at our naked bodies and you feel embarrassed, is the same way you should look at corruption in your country and feel embarrassed and you say, no, I'm not sitting down. Because we have seen that silence doesn't protect anyone in Uganda. It doesn't protect anyone. The more you keep quiet, the more you suffer. We've seen Ugandans have had this narrative of let's keep quiet when they will do this and get tired. No, this generation is saying we are not keeping quiet and we are not sitting down. We are waking up every day to talk about these issues, to challenge injustices, to say this and this. If we write and they don't listen to us, we shall go to the streets. If we go to the streets and they don't listen to us, we shall do another thing. We have refused to keep quiet and we have refused to be silenced. They have done everything, taken us to prison, thinking we are going to keep quiet. We have said, no, we are not going to keep quiet. The societal norms of, nobody's going to marry you. We have been proposed to. People are going to marry us. There are men who understand women like us. Women who say enough is enough. Women who wake up and say, no, we are not keeping quiet. You understand that? The toxicity in these spaces, our own people breaking us. Young women have faced a lot in these spaces. Our own people break us a lot. And some other female defenders have been sexually abused in this same space, abused by people that are supposed to protect them, and they fear to come out and talk about these issues because they feel like they will be mocked by the public. You know how the public treat activists. They feel like we as maybe we are gods, like we are supposed to be perfect. We are not perfect, guys. When you find me out there dancing, I am young. This is my age. I'm supposed to dance. But someone will see you dancing and be like, oh my God, she's dancing. And yet tomorrow she's going to talk about the bad governance. What do you mean? Am I not supposed to dance? People have people have judged us. Like, this space is so toxic. Very, very toxic. We've been judged by just dressing up in a way we feel like, doing the things that we are supposed to do, things of our age, like we are young people, by the way. There are things that we do and people just judge us just because we are human rights defenders. Be like, oh my God, she's eating chicken and she's a human rights defender. What do you mean? Is a human rights defender not supposed to eat chicken? It's not supposed to go out. So you find that our freedoms have been taken away by the government and by our own people. Our own people have started, monitoring us, that we are not supposed to do certain things. They forget that in the end, we are all humans. We are all humans. We do error. If you find me, just collect me. The pressure in this space is just up there, guys. We on pressure. We on pressure. Yeah, that's what I can say.
Thank you for being honest about some of these judgments that you've been facing, feeling dismissed and all the challenges that come with this journey. I'd like to go back to you, Bashira. You are making a really important point before you got cut about being in more formal leadership spaces on your end. And I just want to jump back quickly on that. Maybe we can pick from there. How do you see the link between activism and politics from where you sit? Can they work together, or do you feel there's tension? And then now bring us back into what Nora was actually just discussing about what it's like as a young woman in Uganda, how you are received, and what kind of pushbacks have you met along the way?
Thank you very much. Apologies. The phone was over ringing and I thought it could distract me, so I had to pick it. So, what I was saying from the start is that you cannot be in politics and do away with activism. Sometimes it's supposed to be the politicians to stand in as activists, and that sometimes politicians will need activists to push the agendas of the people. So, I think it's a matter of everyone knowing what they can do best. I appreciate Nora for what she can do. Policy, for example, I might not be as quick, even my size, I'm a plus size, but Nora is a model. She can be as swift as possible. So I wouldn't say that it's attributed and the ability to serve. We need to know, as young people, most especially young women, understand yourself. You get to discover yourself, that who am I, what are my priorities, and by the time you get to realize who you are, you can easily serve better in the spaces where you go to. So going back to the issue I was making is that politicians most of the times need activists. because some of the issues that I will use some examples. For example, when women organizations were advocating for the different policies that were supporting women. For example, we were looking at the marriage bill, and back then there was a certain protest where women rights organizations had to hold placards, and some of these women organizations executives were arrested because now they broke the rules. They knew that if we don't stand, they will not know our stand as women. So most of the times it's about understanding who you are, and you can easily serve wherever you are. So the challenges I've faced, for example, personally, is joining politics at the age of 21 and aspiring on a direct seat where I was competing with 5 men, the youngest and the only woman in the race. Of course, people would body shame you. People would make you feel like your gender is also a problem and it is limiting you. And with the rate of lack of civic education in Uganda, some people were looking for me on a ballot for women members of parliament because they think that direct seats are made for men. For you to be on a constituent seat, you must be a man. So, me standing up as a woman for a constituent seat of Busiro North, people were scared. Those that understood me would always ask me, "Who do you think you are? As young as you are, and the fact that you are a woman, what are you even going to do?" So, most of the times, people think that women have limitations. We have already assigned as, like, I would say that godly assignments, that God maybe designed particular seats where we are supposed to sit. And the moment we fail to politely serve, we are actually seen as, should I say, sinners. And what Nora said, I heard her talk about the issue of marriage. Yes, most men fear women, but it's about the negative socialization that is actually spreading, where our dear brothers think that an empowered woman or a woman who is well aware is actually a potential threat, rather than appreciating that you can have a woman as a partner where you're not going to crumble alone. They are scared. They want women who are going to sit there and just watch everything happen. They don't want women who are going to challenge them, support them, and also partner with them. So it's not just an issue of community, it's also an issue of families. And also, I think it goes back to even religious institutions. I, for one, I remember the week I was supposed to be voted as a member of parliament, I had on a sermon, a Friday sermon at the masjid, where a fellow Muslim had to stand on a pulpit to tell people not to vote for me, saying that Islam does not allow women to lead in the presence of men. You can imagine. But where is that written? It is not written anywhere. So some of these issues are actually affecting women, but at a personal level, they are making me stronger. They are making me more aware and more inquisitive. Of late, I have embarked on public policy. I want to write policies and see how can I now navigate, as well as I am into politics, because politics is about representation, it's about legislation, it's about policy. I want to understand the journey of public policy, and I'm glad I published my first policy brief uh, that was talking about strengthening emergency preparedness, seeking mandatory first aid training of all Ugandans. So it's about you as a leader to see that how can you be a multitasker, so that you can play all numbers. For example, when you're a footballer, the more you can play all the numbers, the more it's better for your team. In case of emergency, you can always stand at any number and score your team good. So it's better to learn as a young woman, learning that you can be a multitasker as a leader. I have a friend of mine who always says she's a polymath. She can do everything. I might not be able to do everything, but as a leader, I know I should know policy, I should know the law, I should know my people, I should know how to represent and the issues that pain. Who am I and what do I stand for? That is very powerful. Hopefully, I've answered your question.
Yes, you have, Nantongo, very exhaustively. I'm glad that you've both mentioned the different kinds of pressure that comes along this journey, and what you've experienced. And also, thank you for bringing up the fact that, women are actually paying a different price for speaking up compared to, men, and what it looks like, in day-to-day lives. So I don't want us to talk about only the struggle side. I also want to hear about what holds you together in your different journeys. Nora, when things get heavy, from what you've told us, the online attacks, the attacks on ground, the threats that you've experienced, the exhaustion, what really still keeps you grounded, and who or what helps you stay sane and safe? Because yes, this journey can be a bit overwhelming, as you both have mentioned, physically, mentally, emotionally. What keeps you, still going? Is it your friends, mentors, faith, probably therapy, routines? What do you usually do in this journey to keep you, feel supported, safety, and staying grounded?
Personally, what has kept me going is the fact that sometimes when we talk about these issues or when we run these campaigns, we impact and change people's lives. There is a campaign we ran about me and my friends. We took on a campaign of the Kigogwa. There is something that happened in Uganda, and my team took on the campaign. But the fact that we changed these girls' lives, there's a fuel tanker that exploded on Bombo Road in Chugogwa, and it killed so many people. It burned so many people, and the government came out that it was going to compensate people, but the money was eaten and many people were not compensated. But this incident left a lot of orphans, a lot of young widows. So, me and my friends took on this campaign. We started amplifying their voices, documenting their struggles, and all that. And through this, we found them lawyers. We talked to these girls. They felt so much loved, they felt so included, they felt empowered. And the fact that these girls right now, they can even be wherever they are. One of them even came to visit me in the in the police custody recently when we were arrested. It shows that these people, we are changing people's lives. It keeps me going when I see people coming back to me and they're like, thank you for saving me. Thank you for helping me. When people come out and say things about my work, positive things, I'm like, oh my God, I think what I'm doing is right. This is my purpose and I have to fulfill it. This is the assignment this is the purpose and assignment that you gave me to become a voice to the voiceless people out there. There's so many people who have no voices. And the fact that we take on the risk work, like we take on this work and we run campaigns and we amplify their voices and their lives change. We change their lives. They come out and appreciate us. They might not come out in the public and say this and that, but they reach out to us. There is a woman we found in the police cells. She had stayed there for a full week, and her only crime was uh, insulting a brother or a sister to the OC, and she was taken, she was arrested. She had been kept in the police cell for so long. We found her there and she was like, you guys, I don't even know. They're talking about taking me to what? To prison. But my only crime is answering back. Actually, she was insulting back. And she was actually beaten by this person. But because the person was related to the OC, she was arrested and taken to police. And even the OC was threatening her that if you don't apologize, there are people who naturally who don't want to apologize. He was like, me, I'm not going to apologize for something I did not do. I was beaten by this woman, and she wants me to apologize just because she's a relative to the OC. So we helped this woman to get out of prison. We first taught her about her rights, and when we came out, we got in touch with lawyers, and our other colleagues were already outside. We started running a campaign about her issue, raising awareness. So this woman was also released on court bail. You find that when we help such people and they come back to us and they're like, thank you for saving me, thank you for saving my children, it also keeps me going. When when we did our nude protest against corruption and Kitezi event, where the rubbish buried lots of people in Kitezi, we protested. Me, I was representing the what? The mothers that lost their lives in that rubbish whatever in that rubbish landslide. But you find that after arresting us, beating us, the president came out and sacked the KCCA ED, executive director, Dorothy Kisaha, and her team. So it was also an achievement. Those are some of the things that keep us going. Even though sometimes instead of working on our demands, they just take us and beat us and do whatever they want to us and even threaten us. But the fact that sometimes there are things that happen, and I'm like, wow, this happened because of me. When we protested against the what? The trial of civilians in military courts, we marched to the Supreme Court. And we succeeded when the ruling was in our favor, even though they turned around and brought it back. But at least we achieved it. It was recorded. We did something about it. Sometimes we do these things and the public is like, what are they going to change? What is the protest going to change? But in the end, these protests change something. So we shouldn't just be keeping quiet. We should do something about these injustices that we see every day. My support system, safety, and staying grounded also is that I have friends in the civic space. I've made friends. I've made friends that believe in me. There are people, when you are in this civic space, you have to be like, let me say, you have to know your people. You have to know your circle. You shouldn't belong in every circle. You should know that these are my people. They got my back. I got their back. And this is where I should stay. So me, I have my people. If I'm feeling heavy and I feel like I am so sad, I have my people I call. I have people I reach out to. I'm like, where are you? I'm feeling this and this. I am not okay. I'm not safe. This and this is happening to me. We have our own circles that we reach out to. We have our safe people. Like, this is my safe person. If I'm feeling heavy, I'll call or I'll reach out to this person. I'll just call and cry. You understand that? We have people we talk to. We see therapists. Personally, I see therapists. I think after every 3 months, because there is a lot going on in this space. As I told you, there's a lot going on, and you have to have friends in the civic space and outside the civic space. The friends in the civic space, these are the friends that you talk to and they know what exactly you are talking about. The friends outside the civic space, you talk to them and they don't even know. They don't know what you're going through. They can't relate. You understand that? They can't relate. You try to explain, they don't understand. But if you have friends in both spaces, like outside and inside, you find that if I want to talk about this, I'll run to James, I'll run to Namara, we shall talk about this and that. If I want to talk about other things, then I have other friends that I'll run to. So we have people that understand us and understand what we are doing. And we have people that have accepted us the way we are. I have people that have accepted me the way I am. That Nora is a soft-spoken person. Nora has this good side, and Nora has this bad side. They have accepted me with my weaknesses and all that. They know me in and out, so they keep me going. they give me that support. And then having people outside the country, people who can come in whenever there is a problem. Let me say, like right now, we are facing a legal battle whereby our court case is becoming complicated every day. They have added someone on our charge sheet, and they made sure that this person cannot be seen. Her or his names cannot be even read. Lawyers were asking, who is this person? Because we were 3 young women on the streets protesting, and it is everywhere in the newspapers and on TVs, videos everywhere. But because of the shamelessness of this government, they added another person on the charge sheet, of which we can't even know the person, whether the person is a criminal or what. So you find that we need visibility on this particular case because they are trying to complicate it and they send us to prison. So when you have friends like from international organizations, they come out and make statements about such cases and feel that they put pressure. And I already told you that this pressure turns into real change. The power of social media is something we shouldn't take for granted. And I want to use this platform to call you guys to stand with us on 15th December. We are going back, and we do not know what's going to happen to us. Whether they want to send us to prison because of this fourth person that they have added to our charge sheet, we do not know. So stand with us. Those who can show up in court, please do. Those who can write, please write. Because for me, I believe in the power of speaking out. We all know silence doesn't protect anyone in East Africa. East Africa has become a kidnapping ground. Huh? And the fact that we want you guys to stand in solidarity with us because we need this regional solidarity. Because even dictators are collaborating with each other to coordinate our abductions. You have all seen that. So as East Africans, we should all stand together and send a collective voice to these guys. They are all coordinating. They are all working together to oppress us. So guys, we need your solidarity so that we cannot go back to prison. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Nantongo. I'm seeing there are some people who really want to speak, and we shall get to you shortly. Let me hear back from, sorry, I meant Nora. So let me hear from you, Nantongo. What about you? How do you protect your mental and emotional health? Just as Nora has mentioned, are there small practices or boundaries that have really helped you navigate?
Yeah, thank you very much. I would love to say that as the fact that I'm actually more of an extrovert when I'm around people, my favorite time is when I'm alone, because when I'm alone, I get to reflect, I get to rethink the words I said earlier, I get to rethink the actions people did and also words that people said, that I get to reflect on. Oh, he meant this. Oh, she meant this. So I really prioritize my personal space, and it has helped me re-energize. Sometimes you need to also give yourself some privacy and let people not know you as much, because as you there is a saying that says that you cannot give from an empty cup. So as a strong woman or as an activist or politician, I know that society expects me to be strong, but I should identify the source of my energy. Sometimes the society I give might not be able to give back to me. So, how do I charge? How do I energize myself? And how do I become better? So, personally, I do that. But again, one thing I have realized is that in Uganda, we've had countless challenges of people being in activism, in politics, and as they reach times of, we would say, retirement, they would proudly say, I don't have anyone to replace me. I'm too good to this. And even recently, our president was quoted saying that if the person is too good at what they do, why do you need to retire such a person? or why do you need to chase such a person regardless of their age, even if they are 100, for as long as they are still good at what they do? Why do you chase them away? So to me, one of the things that also energizes me is when I look back and I see young women that I inspire, young women that are following similar footsteps. I thank God that I lecture at a females university, and most of my students know me. As I teach them, I spare some few minutes to get to know them. And when I get opportunities where they are going to grow and network with people, I always connect them. For example, if I'm invited to conferences and I know I'm not going to make it, I recommend a student, one of my students, and I come back to them. I ask them, what did you do? What did you learn? So, most of the times, what should energize some of us is to know that as you walk two steps, there is a young woman behind you following with a step. So that by the time, we don't know our lifespan. Some of us die young, some of us are lucky and we become old women. What happens if you leave? Whom have you nurtured? So I think as a young woman, what keeps me going is the people that I've nurtured, and I'm glad I am actually impacting young people in secondary schools. I'm impacting young people in universities and in communities. I'm shaping leaders. Today, I am mentoring actually 3 parliamentary candidates for this race. Some have the flags and some are running as independents, because when they saw me, they were inspired, and I knew there is no way I would grow without them. I brought them to spaces, I made their networks grow. So when I look back and I'm like, I'm not walking alone. I know when I get challenges, when I cry, there is someone going to hold me and tell me, Bashira, let's keep going. I'm not walking this journey alone. So that alone is enough for me. And again, knowing yourself as a person, what makes you happy. There are some things you're going to do for yourself. I love to eat. Me, me and food. Even if I just look at food, I am satisfied. So sometimes these small things you can do for yourself, looking at nature, understanding your priorities, they energize you. And by the time you come to serve the people, you are not angry. You are not hungry or angry. You are able to delegate, because at least you're even able to do the small things you do to yourself. And lastly, appreciating yourself. Whenever I am at the lowest, I'm actually advising at the same time telling you what I do. Basically, whenever I am at the lowest of my low, I look back and I'm like, but Bashira, what have you done? And I see I've done countless things, not because I'm a daughter of a minister, because here in Uganda, if you're a minister's daughter, it is easy for you to forge your way to active politics. I'm not a daughter of a minister. I come from a very humble family, but I look back and I'm like, how many people have I impacted? They are many. They are watching me. They are following my footsteps. And I'm like, wow, Bashra, you are doing great. So that is what I would share actually, basically. And we are growing. This is a space and time to grow. So we grow, we get to realize what does for us better, and and how we can actually be better people. So thank you very much.
Oh, that is very encouraging to hear. There's something that both of you have mentioned, and I just wanted to quickly get from each of you in these spaces that you move in. Both of you, your organizations, your communities, your schools. What do you wish that they would do better, or what do you wish they did better to support young women like you who want to step up, or what do you wish they would do better to support each of you? Probably let me hear quickly from Nora, then Bashira.
One thing the organizations, movements, or the government should do to better women in Uganda is to give them a platform. Let me speak from this side of civil society. Organizations, movements, they should give young girls their platforms. They should use their platforms as an empowerment tool. Like, give these girls that platform, amplify their voices, let them tell their stories. You see what you're doing right now, Mwanzo TV? You're giving us a platform. We are using your platform and you are amplifying our voices. We are telling our stories. Not you to come out and tell our story, like not you to come out and tell our stories on our behalf, but you've decided to look for us. Nora, where are you? Come and speak. You understand that? But one thing organizations, movements, or the civil society do is to go out there and tell our stories on our behalf. The only time they include young women in their circles is when it's time for accountability. But young women should be prioritized. They should be included from the very beginning, from the very start of something. Include them, give them a platform. Let them come out and tell their stories. You cannot tell my story the way I want to tell it. Of course, let me say, maybe you can tell half of it, but nobody can tell it the way I want to, like, nobody can tell it for me. So women should be given a platform to tell their stories. They should give these young women a platform to let them amplify their work. Young women are doing a lot of things. Young women in Uganda, me, I engage so much with young women. Young women are doing a lot of things, but they don't have the visibility. There's so many young women out here who are doing a lot of things, but you find that their work is not even out there. And there are organizations, movements that have these platforms. And these young women do not even subscribe to any organization. Let them take them on. Let them include them, allow them, accept them in their spaces and amplify their work, amplify their voices. Let them be seen, let them shine. They shouldn't be gatekeepers. The civic space is so big for everyone to shine. You shouldn't compete with people you are supposed to help. Give young women a platform, give them these platforms, let them speak, let them work, because they are still energetic, they are still young, and they know what they are doing. Let me tell you guys, this is an informed generation. Young people know what they are doing. And young women are so empowered. They know what they are doing. They are so talented and good at what they are doing. If they are given a platform to show their abilities, they can do a lot of things. But nobody is ready to leave and give young women space, a platform to do these things. So many young women want to be on the front line, but that front line has a lot of sabotages. Young women are being sabotaged. We know of young women who can speak, like they speak very well and they know what they are speaking about, what they are talking about, but they have no platform. They don't even know where to start from. I am in a circle of young women who know what to do, but they have no one to see them. They have no one to show them the way. Young women should be included. Organizations should start paving a way for these young women to be seen. Because there is this Uganda saying that says that educating educating a woman is educating a nation. If these young women, let's say if you're giving Nola a platform, do you know how many young women you are giving a platform? Do you know how many young women you are amplifying their voices, their work? Because I work with a lot of young women. So what I'm saying is accept young women the way they are. You have this saying of, for us, we do not associate with those aggressive young women. Those ladies are unruly. Please accept young women the way they are. Accept them in them in your circles. Show them the way. Connect them to opportunities. Teach them what to do. I know many of them know what to do, but they just don't have a movement or organization to work for. Most of them are just being used. But instead of using them, why don't you show them what to do? Because this is the only way we are going to liberate our countries. This is the only way we are going to liberate this country, Uganda. Just imagine if all women were empowered like Nola. Do you know that Uganda would be even pushing for some serious hashtags and campaigns during this season of elections? We would be on fire, mobilizing. But look at us, very divided. We do not even know what to do. Everyone is fighting, everyone is competing with who, so and so. But if you bring us together and show us the way, show us what to do, you would find that we would be working together. And let me tell you, a revolution started by a woman is a successful, because historically women have started and women have led so many successful revolutions. So if young women are, are given these platforms and taught the right things, showed the right path, let me tell you guys, Uganda wouldn't be where it is right now. Having people like Kerea, Nora, PC, Praisey, Margaret on the front line, having 30 of them on the front line. Do you know how many people we would mobilize? Do you know what would be in Uganda? But we do not have them. We are not even united. Unity. The first thing movements do is to divide us. The first thing organizations do is to put us against each other. They divide us because they know if we come together, we are going to do something powerful. And by the way, we are not even competing. We are activists looking for change. We are not even competing with anyone. But you find that they have to put us against each other so that we cannot come together and do what we are supposed to do. So let's fight division. Let's stand together as young women and let's send a collective voice. I think I've answered that.
Yes, yes, you have. I also want to hear before we get into the last segment, back to you, Bashira. What do you wish these institutions did better to support, young women who want to step into this space?
I would say that, as I said, that this is survival for the fittest. There is nowhere in this world where they will offer you space as a young woman to grow. It should be your determination. I will share my personal experience. I've actually walked into boardrooms and meetings where I've not been invited, and I openly tell people, "You people, you didn't invite me, but regardless, I'm here." So some of these spaces we are going to enter by force as young women. The table is full. Okay, some people say it's the way to the table that is crowded, but I will say no one is going to offer us a fair fight. So I would not throw stones to the already existing institutions because they created them. They know the goals or why they created those particular institutions. So as young women, what is your purpose? Identify your purpose and identify the kind of people you want to associate with. It is a matter of you discovering yourself. This is a journey of growth and purpose. Know yourself. What is your purpose on this earth? And after knowing all that, you're going to ably place yourself wherever you are needed. And for some spaces where I've been to, I remember the first space I went to uninvited. It was an event or forum for women in democracy at Hotel Africana. And after eating their food and signing their allowance, I told them, "You had not invited me, but I'm here. My name is Nantongo Bashira. I am ABCD." And since then, I have been nurtured. The lady gave me her contact. She connected me to different spaces, and she told me, Bashira, the next time they always have a boot camp for young leaders. I think from 18 to 24, something like that. And at the time, I think I was 22 or 23. They told us, Bashira, now you are ready. We are going to invite you to the camp. And by the time I went to do the interview, I had moved through all the people that were even interviewing me. They knew me, all of them, and I knew there was no way they would betray me even if I said wrong answers. So it's a matter of strategically positioning yourself. Know the people you want to align with. For as long as they get to know you, they will always offer the space. They nurtured me and passed me to different stages, to different people. And today I speak boldly. I'm not the Bashira that stood in 2021 as a direct member, but actually, if I find that girl, but right now, I feel like I'm better. I'm a better version of myself. That attempt of standing as a member of parliament gave me momentum. It made me more eager and more inquisitive to learn. I realized not even the women organization should build me. It is my responsibility to build myself, to identify myself, and align myself with my purpose. I have done that. I did my master's, by the one, graduated last year. So I'm in the quest for my PhD. Why am I saying all this? It's because as a young woman, the more we have these blame game issues that this one is not doing their part, first ask yourself, what am I doing? Most of the times, whenever you understand your role, you get to know those that are not doing, then you're not supposed to be around them. Look for those that are doing something. And as I said, I love nurturing young women. And I'm glad, I think I have maybe a few of my students here. They're like 5 or 6 or probably 7. They are listening in because I tell them, you know what, now come and listen to some English. They come, they learn. So it's a matter of identifying. But most importantly, it's a personal responsibility. It's not attributed to any organization, because as you grow, you get to know, who do I look for? Who do I interact with? Who do I grow with? Hopefully, I've answered your question. Thank you.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have. And before we get into our last segment, I wanted to hear from one or two people from our audience who are listening. I'm seeing there's Wafula here, and seeing someone else by the
Don't have
name
English.
Wamungati. Yes, so I just wanted to give them a chance briefly. Please keep it around 1 minute so we can head back to our last segment and hear back from our speakers before we close this conversation. So Wafula, if you can hear me, please share your comment or ask a question briefly, and then we can go back to concluding our discussion. I'm seeing, I think Wafula has dropped. There's this other person, I'm trying to get your name, W. Mungadi. If you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Yeah.
I think I've liked the way Nantongo has put it. Nobody's going to give you anything on a silver platter, but education is an equalizer. And I have been asked several times by the people who I meet to talk about Uganda, have you people gone to school? That's the very question they ask, have you people gone to school? Very quick examples. Yesterday I saw an ambulance arrive with a patient in a hospital, and they were saying this is a NUP patient. Then this morning I was asking all the doctors in Uganda, that you people, do we really know our medicine? What's our triage system? Simple things that require an institution to answer. It's not answered. Now, we kind of got disabled that doctors want Museveni to answer for them, lawyers want Museveni to answer for them, even women. Because when you're asking about a platform, Ugandan women have just been playing netball somewhere in some European country. That is a platform. That ask the reason, the question is, how are you using that platform? I one time was questioning young men that you have played football up to African Cup of Nations and you're in the finals and you're in that level, and youths are saying we're not given a platform. The issue is, do you have enough education to use a platform? There's what we call an elevator speech, like you have given me maybe 3 minutes. What do I do in those 3 minutes? Can I make impact? I am one person who keeps telling people that this struggle in Uganda that we are seeing is not about Chagulanyi. Look at 2 days ago how educated people decided to host Chagulanyi for a debate. All elites are now debating Chagulanyi, and we're like, but you people, Chagulanyi is in the dust somewhere. He has managed to bring for you those people. Now use your education as a doctor. These people will not listen to us. As a lawyer, these people will not listen to us. Now that Chagulanyi has brought them near, what do we do? How effective are you on a platform? Nora, that's the question. But Nora, I was missing you. I had not seen you for a long time. Come back to the platforms anyway. Thank you.
Thank you for that contribution. Nora, Bashira, if you'd like to react to that, please go ahead before we get into our last segment.
Dr. Mungadi talked about how we are using our platforms. Young people are using their platforms. But I think the question that Joy asked was what are movements, organization, institutions are supposed to do? What are they supposed to do? You understand? So my answer was in line with what movements are supposed to do. It wasn't in line with what I am supposed to do as a person, because everyone who is here know very well what I do and how I have decided to challenge all these things, the sabotages and all that. Because for me, I believe in myself. Even when we were starting freedom, even when we were starting our movement, I told James, we are going to believe. Let us believe in ourselves. We can do this as young people. We can like found this. We can create this organization or movement. It will be a home for all activists, and you've all seen that Freedom Hive Uganda is a home to all activists. It's a home like every activist that feels like they feel frustrated, they feel left out, they feel they are not being included, they run to Freedom Hive. And you see how we do our things. Everyone is included. No matter who you are, no matter how you come, we know Freedom Hive is born out of frustration. And we do include everyone. We promote everyone's work because we know what it means to be there when you have no platform. We know what it means to be out there when you have the ability, but you have no one to promote your work. Let me tell you, you cannot work alone. You cannot work alone. Mostly in the civil society, you cannot work alone. You need someone to push your work. And at Freedom Hive, we have definitely done that. We promote people's work. Everyone that will come to us, we are like, come and join us. We start promoting you. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where you come from, what your tribe is. So you find that that's the thing that I want other organizations to do, to promote people's work, to bring everyone on board, to amplify everyone's voice. People are shining in Freedom Hive. Everyone that comes to Freedom Hive will shine because that's what we do. That's what we do. It is an organization born out of frustration. And everyone that comes, we welcome them and promote them. Dr. Mungadi asked where I am. Sometimes I take a step back. Sometimes I take a break. Sometimes my campaigns, sometimes I run very, campaigns that I run, some people fear to talk about the things that I talk about. So all these things get on me, and I'm like, let me take a step back, let me relax, let me take a break. But I am on a break on X. But if you look for me on LinkedIn and TikTok, I am there. I am there and I am very active. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that. As we get into our last segment, probably let's push back a bit and focus on what our topic is asking. Where do young women fit in Uganda's future? Let's think about the bigger picture. Bashira, from your work with young people in the education sector, in the political sector, how do you imagine that future? Basically, what would it look like if young women are fully included and taken seriously?
Thank you very much. And actually, that is a very intriguing question, given our current population, where okay, we are not so sure of the exact statistics, because some of us believe we are more than the number Ubos gave us, but it remains that young people are the majority in Uganda. They comprise of over 51% of the total population. So, of course, imagining a future where these young people are not there, it is something we have to reimagine. Most of the organizations, and I credit Nora for her submission regarding that whenever you do your part, sometimes you have to look at other people. Are they actually doing their part? And most of the organizations today are focused on young people who are even out of school. And to me, it's always a question, because 51% of the Ugandan population are actually teenagers below. Most of them are actually, should we call them, how do they call them? The ones that are below 17 years old. So, meaning that these young people are the next adults in the next 10 years. How have we planned for them? How have we groomed them? And most of the projects we have in Uganda, they mostly concentrate on young adults, those that are in universities and those that are out of universities. And few projects are done in schools. And I believe that leadership is built from schools. We lose head girls along the way. We lose good presidents along the way. After they serve, they don't have a guardian to direct them to the next course. So most of the times, if you don't know who is going to hold your hand, we lose a lot of people. So to me, a generation where we try to nurture, I would want to imagine a generation of inter I would say intergenerational learning, where young women are going to learn from the seniors that I've seen. For example, we have people like Miriam Atembe, we have people like Saro Pendi, we have people like, for example, in Kenya, we have Millie Diambo. We have many brilliant women that have contributed to the women's movement. And if young women in schools and universities take states and learn from such people, it's going to be easier and it's going to be more impactful. So to me, a generation where women have taken over, I would say it will be brilliant only if we take on the aspect of intergenerational learning, because the more we don't learn from the errors our seniors did, and learning from the mistakes they did, we are also going to fall in the same trap. So I would say that a generation where we have learned from each other, we have appreciated each other, we have celebrated each other, young women will grow to appreciate older women or senior women in the field, not actually women. This is also broad, it also cuts across our brothers in this space. When we see men growing into men that are going to advocate for policies regardless, is it a women issue? Is it a public issue? Is it a girl child issue? Is it something that is impacting society? Whenever we nurture more people to come on board, we tend to see that it's going to be easier for us to learn or for us to actually impact society. So I would say that it will be a very interesting space when young women are actually taking on these spaces, or when young women are actually changing this world, but on a condition that we learn. Because right now the generational gap, trust me, if we have not planned on how we are going to bridge that gap, we are not going anywhere. We are going to be the same victims the way our mothers and grandmothers were. So I don't know whether I'm answering your questions, but yes, I'm trying.
Yeah. Yes, very much, very much. Don't fret. You're actually very, your insights are very intriguing to us. Nora, what about you? Let's imagine Uganda 10 or 20 years from now. When you think about that future, where do you see young women? What roles do you hope they are playing in movements, in politics, in communities, organizations? Where do you see that future?
Additionally to what Bashir has said, I would like to emphasize so much about generational femtorship. Let's learn from people who came before us. In these spaces, we have people who are full of knowledge. They know what they they are good at what they are doing. But still, we shouldn't learn everything from them. We should focus on the good side because some of the women that Bashila mentioned, I am a person who call a spade, and my mouth has made me fall into so many problems. So I am like, we shouldn't learn everything from these women. Yeah, but we should learn something. We should focus on the good side and see that we see how the future can be. For young women, we should be included, and we should be participating in the decision makings, and we should be part of the decision makers. So as recently we were running a campaign at Sisterhood Shane International. We're advocating for many female leaders in the parliament, and then people came out and said female leaders are not good leaders, and they were telling us about Anita Among and Samia Suluhu. But we shouldn't focus on these people, let me tell you. And these people are not even young women. These are people from different generation, from a different generation. So they know what they believe in. And as I told you earlier, that young women have a lot of potential, and they can make good leaders. So they should be given a platform to be part of the decision makers, and they should be allowed on the decision making table so that we can see the future. We can enter the new Uganda that we always preach about and we dream of. Another thing that I would love to talk about is young people. You shouldn't look at one person. Like nowadays we see that young people have this mentality of saying or believing that they shouldn't be a particular person to come out and speak on our behalf. Like they are trying to create like a cult, like we should believe in this person. Guys, we should believe in ourselves. We should believe in ourselves to change our country. We shouldn't wait for Dr. Kiza Besigye. We shouldn't wait for Bobby Wine to do the things that we can also do. I was telling my friends recently that if you want change, and you do really want to enter the new Uganda that you always talk about, what are you doing about it? How are you adding your voice to the struggle? What are you contributing to the struggle? Or you are waiting for Bobby Wine to come to your home, knock and tell you, you know what? Tomorrow, on 15th January, come and vote for me, this and this. What are you doing, you, as a young woman in your community? What are you doing to bring about the change that you want? Or you are waiting for Mr. Chagulani to come and tell the people in your village to vote for him. If you want the change, if you want change, you should also wake up and tell yourself, I am going out there to campaign for my presidential candidate. And I am not telling you guys to go out there and campaign for Chagulani. I am just I am saying you can be part of the change that you want. Believe in yourself. Be part of the change that you want to see in your community and in your country. If you want the medicines, if you want medicine in your hospitals, because most of the time we don't have medicine in our hospitals. But you are waiting for Nora, you are waiting for Korea, you are waiting for Bashira to come to your community and talk about the absence of medicine in your hospitals. You should use your phone. You guys, we are just lazy people. Back in days, those of Stellanians used to do these things without internet. They used to advocate for our rights without internet, without social media platforms. But for us, we even have the opportunity that we have access to internet, we have our phones. We should use our phones to advocate for these things. We should use our phones, record a video, walk into like go out there, check out if there is medicine in your in the hospitals in your village. Walk around, look at what is happening in your community. These bad roads that are claiming our people every day. Every day we lose a lot of people to road accidents. But these are the roads that we are using, all of us. But we are waiting for Chagulani to come out and talk about these things. We are waiting for Dr. Mungadi, who lives in the US, to come and talk about our bad roads. But we have our phones. Let's use our phones very well. Take a picture of a bad road, upload it. Let change start with you. We shouldn't wait for someone. We should be mobilized as citizens of Uganda, as young women of this nation. We should all be change makers, because we are facing these struggles every day. The people that die of road accidents every day are not strangers to us. They are our mothers, they are our brothers, they are our sisters. We know them. Let's talk about these bad infrastructures in our countries. Eh? The mothers in 2025 in Uganda, we still have mothers dying in the labor while giving birth. Something that should have ended a long time ago, but we still have them. And these are not strangers to us, they are our mothers and aunts. We should use our phones to speak out. We should be informed. We should pay attention to matters of national importance, and we shouldn't just keep quiet. We should speak out. Ugandans, the things that the experiences and everything that we are seeing and we are living, the life and the struggles we are going through every day, is enough for us to stay mobilized. You don't even need Nora Kobsinje to come out and talk about these issues. We should be talking about everywhere. We should be speaking the same language of change. Everyone is tired. But the fact that you people are tired and you are keeping quiet and you are saying that is politics. Politics is coming to your house and claiming your children, killing them, the bad roads. That is bad system. So I think we need to stay mobilized as a generation so that in 20 years to come, Uganda will be a very changed nation. Uganda is rich, but people are just ignorant. Ugandans are just ignorant. They are not paying attention. And the moment you come out to talk about these issues, is when they start criticizing you. They focus on what you have said and they don't get the message. Sometimes they focus on the accent, sometimes they focus on the dressing code of the person speaking. Ugandans, we should be like Kenyans. Let's copy from our neighbors. Those people are so mobilized. So if we want the change, if we want the change that we've been dreaming of, we shouldn't wait for Chagrani to come to our communities and campaign. We should be the ones campaigning, asking people to vote for. Anyway, let me stop there.
Nora, I know you're very passionate and you have a very wide scope of what you envision for the change that you want to come, in your spaces, in your community, in your country. It's very vast that you cannot really express all that in one sitting. Before I give you and Bashira your closing remarks, before I let you share your closing remarks with us, I'll allow just one more speaker. I'm seeing someone, Claire. I'm seeing you really want to speak. Briefly share with us your comment, your question, so that we can actually throw it back to our speakers and wrap up this conversation for tonight. Karibu, Claire. Oh, I'm seeing Claire has dropped. No worries. So as we come to the end of our conversation, Nora, Bashira, I'd really like to.
Hello.
Yes. I can hear you. Go ahead, Claire.
Hi, good evening. So glad to be given an opportunity to speak something. I just wanted to kind of differ from Nantongo's submission that women should build their spaces. And I kind of differ because if the women in already the big spaces wait for young women to build their own, then what is their contribution to the women's movement? Because to build a strong women's movement, we need to mentor other young women. We need to give them space, like Nora said. We need to allow them to exercise their rights. What triggered my quite different opinion is we've seen the women already in those bigger spaces, for example, political positions, sabotaging young women. They're blocking young women from exercising their human rights. They're blocking young women from taking charge as well. Yet for them, they already have the space, they already have the power. I can give an example of what was going on in the current elections nomination. The speaker herself, Anita Mong. We have a minister, Nyamutoro. These are the women that are supposed to mentor. They're supposed to empower the young women. They're supposed to let young women actually also take occupy these political positions, but they're the ones blocking them. You saw how Anita Mong politically and technically blocked a young woman from Bukedia. Now, it's not just one woman, there are like two. Even in the previous election, that's what she did. In her local area, that's what she's doing to women. And other women are keeping quiet. For me, I'm always emphasizing the fact that women, if we are to build quality women leaders, if we are to build a strong women's movement, we should always actually first call out these women who are serving oppressive regimes. The women's movement is being cracked down technically by dictators like Museveni, Ruto, and all others. You know how Museveni is mentoring Suluhu back there in Tanzania, and that is well known. And we are thinking that these women are being given space by these dictators. They are given those political positions to serve interests of the oppressive regimes they are in. And you see in Tanzania what a woman leader is doing. That's not what we expect from women leaders who have those political positions. What we expect them to do is, first of all, empower other young women to take charge, even if it is lower positions. Empower many more young women to do that. If you're in such a powerful position of a speaker, a powerful position of a vice president, a powerful position of the minister of health, a powerful position of the president of Tanzania, why are you now frontlining, repressing people, repressing civilians? You saw how many thousands and thousands of Tanzanians were killed. We expect these women leaders to actually be the ones that are condemning these injustices. We expect Anita Mong to be at the front line of condemning brutal arrests of other young women. We saw how the group of Olivia Lutaya and many other young women were arrested in a campaign trail. And these women in political positions are silent, some of them, and others are actually directly involved in actually these things, arrests and kidnaps and torture of civilians. This is women. This is not something we should just look on and we keep quiet, because it is cracking our women's movement indirectly. Right now, you can see a narrative that is already going on that now you see how Suluhu is behaving, how Anita Mong is behaving, stealing public funds, mocking Ugandans with using public funds to gift her boyfriend, how Suluhu has commanded the killing of civilians. So they are using it now, that narrative, to say that women are bad leaders. Yet we should have, we should be living as examples. Women in those political positions, we should challenge and prove to the world that we can be good leaders by doing what the people want, by doing, by serving the interests of the ordinary people. Women in those political positions, we have a minister of health, but the health system is cracked down. Yesterday, a woman died because a hospital in Chiboga doesn't have machines, it doesn't have medicine and all that. And medical doctors are frustrated and have ended up also being inhuman. They can't attend to patients right now. But the Minister of Health is a woman. She can never speak out. All she cares about is her allowances and other things. Women are being involved in corruption scandals. But while building a woman, most of the times when in those women conferences and all that, when women are defending the fact that why women should occupy political positions, one of the things actually the frontline is women cannot be compromised. But what are we seeing now? Women are the ones that are being compromised. Women are the ones that are getting involved in corruption scandals, and the women are quiet. They're not condemning that. We are letting down the women's movement ourselves, and we should not blame anyone. We should not rely on hate speech against men to build the women's movement when we have women who are blocking other young women. It really hurts me when seeing a woman blocking another one, not giving them space. And now, how do you expect a young girl in back then, Kabale, where I come from, in a rural area, to build her own space when the old guard is like guarding it, and they don't want any other young women to occupy it? How do you? So it's upon us to build these spaces and empower others. Actually, that narrative of letting women to build their own space, it's the one that will escalate the issue of women insisting in political power, just because we expect other women to build their spaces. Where will they build the spaces when you're insisting in a political position and you don't want another one to contest? I really get personal when I see a fellow woman oppressing other young women, and now we want to use outside excuses. Let's first correct internal issues within the women's movement by calling out these oppressive women, the women who are serving the interests of dictators. We have to call them out. We have to clean up the women's movement before we go outside to solve other issues. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Claire, for that very strong contribution and raising very, very valid points. And you've touched on, the abductions and everything that's happening right now around East Africa. And this is something that has created real fear in communities and people who are watching closely to see who speaks, just the way you've mentioned, to see who speaks, how we are reacting, and who keeps quiet when our own fellow women leaders are letting us down. And yes, I can feel from your voice and your frustrations. It really hurts even more when we feel like these women leaders who we thought would stand with us or serve as well are quiet, or they are not using their positions the way we hoped. So Yes, I'm saying, Nora, you really want to respond to that, but we are really, really pressed for time, and I'll give you a chance to respond to that because we really need to bring this conversation to an end for tonight. I'll give you and Nantongo each a chance for a final word or your final remarks, and also react to some of the questions and some of the comments that we have had from our speakers tonight. Then we can wrap up the conversation. So I'll start with you, Nantongo, and then we will go to Nora.
Thank you very much. Actually, I would say that maybe my sister Claire didn't understand me well, but I stand to actually clarify on my issue. What I meant with my statement, I didn't at any point say that young women should create their own spaces. I said they should identify their purpose and know who they are going to walk the journey with. And I would want to also add that as we try to say that we are pulling down the old guard, I'll take you back to what I submitted earlier. What is your role? What are you bringing to the table? I'll use an example. If you are on a dining table full of sweet potato, and someone again brings another sack of sweet potato and wants to add to the to the table, you'll be like, the table is already full. But if this person comes with chicken or Irish potato or meat, you will eagerly now bring, because that we don't have. So as young women, we need to identify ourselves as unique, as different, and as rooted and with a particular purpose. We are not going to unseat women or the ones we call the old guard when we are going to do the similar things they are doing. They were also, most of them, by the way, most of them, I'll quote the speaker whom my sister Claire was referring to. The speaker of parliament at one point was in opposition. She was also making comments on the people that were in the similar seats. I think it was Kadaga at the time. She was also seeing the injustices she was doing. And look at her in the same office. She's even worse than Kadaga, I must say. So, what do we want? We want young people to have purpose. First, know yourself and understand what uniqueness are you bringing to the women's space. We are no longer seeking your, identification that simply because I'm a woman, I identify as a woman, you're going to occupy our space. Right now, we are asking your value. It's not about you being a young woman. You come and waste our space. What are you going to do as a young woman? Sometimes some people say that time is up, and when they sit in certain offices, they're even not prepared. So as we seek to do the representation, because no matter what, even if we don't unseat them, nature is going to unseat them by force, because they are in a totally different generation. We are young and we have to represent them. Sorry, we have to represent the country at a certain point. So at a particular, even if we don't fight, they are going to go. So that means as we fight, because yes, we have to fight. It's our responsibility to fight for the space where we feel we are going to be heard. We need to be on those decision-making tables. At one point, I was even questioning myself. Why is it that, given that youth comprise of over 78% of the total population of the country, why is it that young people still vote their leadership under electoral colleges? And these electoral colleges are the ones that are actually still even manipulated by the government. The youth don't have a voice. If you're not from the NRM party, you cannot serve as a national youth MP or as a regional MP. So all these issues, the challenges that we are facing as young people, what strategies are we using to eliminate them? And how better are we building ourselves? We are not just bringing the good English and the nice looking bodies. We want to bring a difference. We want you to come to the table and speak sense. We want you to come to the table and we feel your presence. We don't just want you to be there because you are young, because you are a woman, because you are in your 20s, and you're like, no, I'm in my 20s, I have to sit here. What value are you adding? Actually, those are the people that you see people saying Samia Suluhu is terrible. But Samia Suluhu is not the first person to be terrible. But simply because she is a woman, the world is looking at her and the world is questioning women. Now you see you women and that is the problem. So as we nurture ourselves, we need to know that one mistake of a woman is going to be our entire mistake. It's going to identify most of us, and it's going to define most of us. So we need to know that we have to be as careful as possible, as knowledgeable and more relevant to society as possible, so that the world does not castigate us, so that the world does not hold us accountable. Rather, the world should celebrate our presence and existence. Those will be my parting shots. Thank you.
Very well said, Nantongo. Back to you, Laura.
Thank you so much. So, I would love to begin with this statement my sister Nantongo made, that Samia Suluhu is not the first person to be terrible. You know, I hate that language. I don't like it because you sound like these women who do not want to hold female leaders accountable just because they will look and sound misogynistic. But to me, everyone should be held accountable. No matter who you are, whether you are a man or a woman, you should be held accountable for your mistakes and for the wrongs you are doing. So, going back to the issue, to what Namala said, I want to add on that it doesn't matter how empowered you are. It doesn't matter how empowered you are. So long as you don't have the platform, you will not do anything. So it takes us back to the point of Bashla when she said that young women, we need to empower ourselves. We should, like, we are already empowered. Young women are empowered. Let me tell you, I'm working with women, with young women who are very empowered, very educated, lawyers, accountants, journalists. They are very educated, very empowered, but they don't have the platforms. It takes us back to what I was talking about. The gatekeepers should open these gates for the young women. They should give them the platforms. They should amplify their voices. They should connect them to opportunities. Namara highlighted a case where Anita Mongo blocked and oppressed all her opponents. Nyamtolo did the same thing. It's not only men who are doing this. Women have become mafias in this regime. They are mafias. They are running mafia gangs. They are running unopposed, standing unopposed. They are oppressing. It's not that they are the only good people available, just like you are trying to state it, like to put it indirectly, that what are young women doing? Young women are doing a lot. It takes a lot of courage for a young woman to go out there and pick a nomination form to go and stand against Anita Mongo. It takes a lot of courage. We all know what Anita Mongo is doing in that parliament. We have seen what she's doing. You have been reading it online. You have seen her reckless statements everywhere. Videos have been circulating on social media platforms. She's been seen shutting up her fellow members of parliament. And now you want to come you want to come here and tell us that young women are not doing enough. Young women are doing enough. Young women are empowered, but the gatekeepers are sabotaging them. The gatekeepers are not only in politics, but they are also in the civic spaces. They are sabotaging young women. They are sabotaging the very people that they are supposed to mentor. They are oppressing them. They are oppressing them. We receive stories, we receive evidence every time young women trying to sabotage and silence people just because they have this power, they have the voice, they have the platforms. They are running mafia gangs in both politics and the civic space. And you want to come out here and tell us that young women are not doing enough just because they are young. What? Young women are doing what it takes to be there. They are doing a lot, but they are being silenced. They are being beaten. They are being abducted. We are being restricted to do most of the things that we are supposed to do. And we are not being oppressed by men. We are being oppressed by women who are holding these gates. They are competing with us, and yet they are supposed to mentor us. And you talked about storming these conferences. Let me tell you, there are women in Namakonkome out there who cannot even access these conferences you're talking about. You are lucky you can access those spaces. There is peace, a young woman who had a dream of becoming the president of Uganda. She couldn't even make it. I hope you saw her poster. She couldn't even make it. We were in our circles trying to find all possible ways to see that she goes through. She couldn't make it because of these women who are gatekeepers. Yvonne Pambala also wanted to become a president. She has that dream. You saw the posters. She couldn't even make it because of the sabotagers. And these are not men, they are women. They are women, the EC Electoral Commission. They are women in our circles. They, women are fighting young women. Older women are fighting young women. Some point I said they should give these platforms. They should stop closing these doors. They should be our mentors. You are lucky enough that you access those spaces and you went through. You made your connections. But what about people like those widows who are trying to amplify their voices? They have their dreams. They have the abilities. They can speak. They can write. They are educated. But they don't have those platforms. And even us who are trying to help them, we are sabotaged. We do not have those powers, the influence to make them shine, to give them those platforms. I don't know what you say about those women who can't access those spaces and yet they know their purpose. It doesn't mean that for someone that they do not know their purpose. They know it. They have a purpose and they know it, but they don't have access to the spaces. And they only want those people to accept them, to include them. So I don't want to sound as a person who, as my sisters and brothers or elder brothers and sisters who used to say, "Oh, let him seven rule us. Nature will do us a favor." We are a generation that has said that nature will not do us a favor. We are standing up right now. It doesn't matter what the cost is. We are going to challenge this regime. We are going to speak out boldly. We are going to take action. We shall not wait for them to die. We are going for them and we need to hold them accountable. You cannot hold a grave accountable. We want to hold these people that have caused a lot of atrocities in our countries accountable. We want them alive. We don't want them dead. So we shall not wait for them to die. We shall not, no, there is no time. We are not going to repeat the mistakes of our fathers and mothers. We are going to speak out. Now is the time. They used to tell us that you are the leaders of tomorrow, and the tomorrow is now. There is no any other tomorrow. Now we are the leaders. So if we say let's wait from 7 to die, that is the talk of our mothers and fathers. This is now, and this is us, and we have to speak out. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nora. Thank you so much, Bashira. I really love, I had not expected for this conversation to be so alive, and I really love how you have really brought out that aspect in tonight's discussion. And clearly, as I had said before, this is a very broad conversation. It's definitely not a one episode conversation, so we'll definitely look into doing a part 2 where we can pick up. I've noted some of these points that have been raised, and we'll look into how we can pick up some of these points and even disagree properly with more time next time. So a very big thank you once again to our speakers, Nora and Bashira. Thank you for giving us your time tonight and for sharing your individual journeys with us, for sharing your doubts. You know, you've shared your courage and the lessons you've learned along the way, and even your hopes for the future. You even for just highlighting how you've come from different backgrounds, have different aspects, but at the end of the day, you still speak in one language, that is unity in activism in your different areas or organizations. And to everyone who has tuned in tonight, thank you for joining the conversation. Thank you for sharing the space. Thank you for commenting and sharing your views with us. As I had said, this is just the first part, and we'll definitely be picking up this conversation again very soon. So asanteni sana. Something that I always say, these conversations may sound small, but they really help us to name things. They help us to see each other. They help us to understand the situations that are going around in our countries. As I had even said last time, we had a space where we had involved a lot of Kenyans and Tanzanians. These issues, they really unify us. It's not a problem of Uganda alone or Tanzania alone. They remind us that we are one and what unifies us as East Africa. And they also remind us that young women have always been part of the story, not just an afterthought. Thank you so much for sharing your views with us in this conversation. Please follow our speakers on their social media platforms, follow their work that they're doing. Some of them you can hear they're being asked where they are. So follow them so that you can be updated with everything that is going on right now, all the initiatives that they're taking part in. Also follow Mwanzo TV, follow Mwanzo TV Plus. Mwanzo TV Plus is our other platform where we talk mostly, most of our audience is Tanzanian, so most of the content there is in Kiswahili. Mwanzo TV is more of regional content and audience. And just to mention that this conversation we've had tonight is part of our Shangazi Power series or project. Shangazi Power is basically a project where we amplify stories of remarkable women change makers across East Africa. Some of the women we have featured from Uganda, maybe if I may mention, include Stella Nyanzi. I saw her briefly join the space, and I'm honored to have her. We've also featured Sarah Birete, Nana Mwafrika, even Nora here. So head over to our YouTube channel to watch their powerful stories. And on behalf of Mwanzo TV, my name is Joy. Thank you for spending your evening with us. Stay safe. Keep asking questions, as we have heard from our conversations tonight. Keep speaking up, keep asking the right questions, keep showing up, and